guys, it is Dani and welcome to this update video on the tropics. So in this video we're going to mainly focus on our newly formed tropical depression 9, which is expected to eventually become tropical storm IDA later today, and it's going to be making its way up to the Gulf Coast and could potentially be a major hurricane at the time of landfall. And also we have tropical storm warnings that are in place for portions of the northwestern Caribbean. And so we'll also talk about our other two invests out in the Atlantic that could develop into tropical cyclones by this weekend or so. And so before I go into details, alright, so let us kickstart things with our two disturbances out in the Atlantic. So first up is Invest 97L. So as you're seeing on the 5-day outlook from the National Hurricane Center, it has a high 70% chance to potentially develop into a tropical cyclone. So it could become a depression, maybe a named storm by this weekend or so, and it's not seeming as though it will be a threat to land imminently, but if you're in the Azores, you might want to keep an eye on this. But the system is not expected to become anything that is too significant, because it is not going to be in favorable conditions for a very long duration of time. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that disturbance. And so looking at the satellite view of it, we have disorganized shower and thunderstorms associated with this disturbance here. It is not so organized at all, but as time goes by we could see it getting in shape and eventually becoming a tropical cyclone. And so looking at the model intensity guidance for it, we have just a few models available, and most of them do agree that we will have 97L acquiring tropical storm status to expecting a hurricane. But I would say it is possible, but even if it does, fortunately it's going to be well offshore of anywhere for most of its lifetime. And so now let's move on to Invest 98L. So that is our other disturbance that is about midway between the Windward Islands and just off the coast of Africa. So that disturbance is given a 50% chance to potentially develop into a tropical cyclone during the next 5 days and a 40% chance through the next 48 hours. So the chance is increasing for this system here, because yesterday it was at 30% and now here we have it being at 50%. So it's getting a bit more likely that we could have depression, probably weak tropical storm forming from this low pressure area. And so we have to wait to see what's going to be happening, but by this weekend conditions will start to get less favorable to accommodate development of a tropical cyclone. So it has limited time out there, but we'll see what happens with it. And as of right now, it's not looking as though it will be moving into the Caribbean region, but we'll have to wait and see the eventual track, because as you can see, that shaded region there is a very wide, so the center of the system can go anywhere within that zone. So we have to wait and see what's going to be happening. And so looking at the satellite view of it, it is looking quite compact. It's looking better than 97L, and so we'll have to wait and see if it is going to be continuing and getting a bit more organized. So we'll have to wait and see what's going to really happen with the system here and see where it is going to go. And now to the main treat of this video, Tropical Depression 9. So let us take a look at it in the Caribbean. It is expected to become tropical storm IDA by later today. And so first up, let us take a look at the satellite view of it. And so we're seeing here that it is very disorganized at this time, and it is having all that moisture being extended to portions of the northwestern Caribbean. So Cuba, Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, those are areas that are going to be feeling the impacts from the system throughout today. I can say for a fact here in Jamaica we have been having inclement weather throughout most of this morning. Some areas even having flash flood. And so it is possible that the heavy rainfall as a result of the system could trigger some flash flooding in sections of the island as the system makes its way by. And then in the Cayman Islands, there is a tropical storm warning that is in place. So let's go on to the cone forecast for our depression. And so here we have it. So a tropical storm warning is what is highlighted in blue, and as of right now it is in effect for the Cayman Islands and the Cuban provinces of Matanzas, Mayabeque, Havana, Artemisa, Pinar del Rio, and the Isle of Youth. So those areas can expect tropical storm-like conditions to begin within about 36 hours or so. But other areas such as western and central Cuba and in the northern Yucatan Peninsula and the Gulf Coast of the US should monitor the progress. So it is expected to become a hurricane by Saturday morning, and it could be near major hurricane strength at the time of landfall, which is anticipated early on Monday in southern Louisiana. So guys, even though we're not seeing where a major hurricane is fully anticipated as of right now, I would say that it is certainly possible that we could have a catastrophic landfall because conditions are highly conducive in the Gulf of Mexico, and especially just off Louisiana there is a region of very warm ocean waters, and there is also conducive shear extending across the Gulf. So those conditions will aid in rapid intensification of the system, and we saw with Grace recently how it rapidly intensified into a Cat 3 just before landfall, and it was so close to Cat 4 intensity when it made landfall in Mexico. Winds were 125 miles per hour, a little stronger, and we would have had a Category 4 monster making landfall. So I'm not saying that is going to be the outcome, but I would say it is very likely for that to be what happens with our tropical depression 9 here. And so please take necessary precautions and stay safe. So this is just bringing back memories of what happened with Laura last year. So Laura's track was a bit different from this because Laura passed north of Jamaica and it made landfall in the most southwesterly side of Louisiana. But now here we're having the system here, and Laura made landfall around this time last year, and then we're having the system expected to make landfall maybe as a major hurricane by early next week, guys. So if you're in Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, you want to keep your heads up and ensure that you're having preparations being in place, because this system could really surprise us. So we're going to talk about conditions very shortly. And so now let us go on to see what our models are anticipating for the system. So we have quite a bit of available models, and as of right now most expect that it will achieve hurricane status, but only 3 are expecting it to become a major hurricane. And I think that a major hurricane is definitely likely with the system, as it is going to be making its way up to the Gulf Coast of the US. And so now let's move on to conditions. So let's look at the ocean temperature map. Alright, so this is what I was mentioning earlier. Just off Louisiana is the warmest section of the Gulf of Mexico. So we're seeing 32 degrees Celsius. That is very warm. 31 degrees. Those ocean temperatures will be aiding in rapid intensification of the system, especially just before landfall. And so fortunately, as of right now, the system is not expected to be moving very slowly, because that would only make things worse. It would have more time over those very conducive waters to intensify. And so let's go on to the wind shear map. And so the different colors here mean different shear intensity. So we have the green meaning favorable, the yellow means neutral, and the red means unfavorable. So as of right now, the shear in the Caribbean is not very conducive, but look at the Gulf of Mexico, just favorable shear extending across most of the region. So that is another significant factor when it comes on to tropical cyclone intensification. And so guys, please take necessary precautions and stay safe. As I said, if you're in portions of the northwestern Caribbean, such as Cuba, Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, and along the Gulf Coast, especially in Louisiana, please take necessary precautions and stay safe. This system here could be something that is quite catastrophic, and so I will keep you updated on the latest as time goes by. And so guys, that is it for this update, and if you found it to be quite informative, please give a thumbs up, and you can also share your thoughts with me in the comments or ask a question. I will try to respond as best and as soon as I can, and just remember to always be weatherwise.